Hey guys, in this week's video, I want to go into a file that I call Shane's Tips, and these are reminders for me for shortcuts or procedures in Premiere Pro that I always seem to forget. So let's take a look at these top 9 notes that I've made for myself for reminders about procedures in Premiere Pro. Here we go. Tip number 1 is how to find the old text program that Premiere Pro used to use. Right now, if you want to do text, you can just click the type tool, click on the screen and write anything you want. But another great one that you can use is just go up into Window and hit Essential Graphics. And you can take these animated text documents here on the side, just drag it onto your timeline and change the text to whatever you want to say. And now you'll have this text animated in automatically. But if you want to use the old Premiere Pro text generator, you can go into File, New, and down to Legacy Title, and you will see the old way of doing it. So I can type anything I want in here, and then I can move my text wherever I want, or I can use this centering button to center it up and down or left and right, or I can go down into here and find one of these old antiquated styles, drag it into shape and center that up. You close the window, and then in your project window you will have that clip that you can drag into your timeline, and there it is. Okay, tip number 2 is how to break a stereo audio file into 2 mono audio files. This microphone that I use goes into a little recorder, and on this recorder, the way I've got it rigged up, I only get one channel of audio. The left channel is my audio, my right channel is blank. So when I drag in an audio clip that I've recorded with this microphone, if I expand it here, you can see that there's audio on the left track and not on the right. So one option is just to right-click the audio clip, go up to Audio Channels and highlight the left channel on both of them, click OK, and now it will essentially be mono. It's the same waveform in the left and the right, so it is essentially mono. But the other option is to locate this waveform in the project file. I know it's right there, but I'm going to right click it and hit Reveal in Project. That will highlight it for me. While it is highlighted, I go up to Clip, hit Audio Options, and then break out to mono. Break out to mono. Is that like stereo mono? It will take the 2 audio tracks, the left and the right, and it will break them out into singular tracks. So when I drag this left onto it, it is no longer a stereo file, it is just a mono file of my dialogue. Perfect. You can go to glow colors and change. Another reason that I like to convert some stereo audio files into mono audio files is sometimes when I'm like shooting a short film and I'm doing a fight scene, when the camera's recording everything in mono, like people pushing each other around or stomping a little bit, and I add a sound effect that's in stereo, sometimes it doesn't fit in very well. It kind of stands out. You can tell that the sound is just different than all the other sounds. So I like to convert it to mono, and then it seems to fit in so much better. So for instance, if I take I've got a body fall here. If I take this sound effect of a body fall, and as you can see, this is a stereo file here. I can right click it, Reveal in Project, take the clip that's highlighted, hit Audio Options, break out to mono, and then I have either the left channel or the right channel by itself. I can drag it in, put it in the same spot, and it is a mono sound effect file. Alright, the next tip can be handy for cleaning up unused files in your project workspace and can help clear up memory for Premiere Pro. And to put it simply, what you're doing is clearing out files that are in your project workspace, but you're not actually using them anywhere. So all you have to do is you go up to Edit and you click Remove Unused. And then your project workspace it won't delete it from your computer, but it will unload it from Premiere Pro, and it will not be taking up space in your project workspace. It helps keep things clean and running efficiently. And we gotta pause again because there's another dadgum train. All right, moving on to tip number 4. This bar is the work area bar. And whenever I want to render my footage, I'll go to Export Media, and I have it set that the source range for what it will render is always set, for me, is set to the work area. So that means if I were to render this right now, it would render from right here to right here. This is the area that would be exported out of Premiere Pro. Well, sometimes you want to move that around, maybe we want to do the whole thing. You can grab these points and drag them to the place that you want, but sometimes you'll find that they're not even anywhere close to where they need to be, and you can't even find the end of it. Well, there's a shortcut so that you can set your work area bars beginning and end. If I want the work area to end right here at this line, you can hit Alt, close bracket, and that's where it'll be. I can go to the very beginning of everything and hit Alt, open bracket. So anytime you want to move the work area, beginning or ending, you just go to the spot you want it to begin at, hit Alt, open brackets, and wherever you want it to end at, you just hit Alt, close brackets. Now, if for some reason you cannot see this work area bar, it probably got turned off right there. So sometimes you'll be working, you're like, I do not have a work area bar, and if I hit Alt, open brackets, it doesn't change anything. You go to these 3 lines next to your sequence name, you right click it, and then you hit work area bar, and that'll make it visible again. And now you can set your work area wherever you want it. We kind of did 2 tips there. The next one is tip number 6, and it pertains to when you can't see your video track's name. So right here I can see the audio track names, so audio 1, audio 2, audio 3, but where are the video track names? I wish they were up there. Well, you can raise this bar really high and you'll see it, but you don't always want to do that. So what you can do is you right click in this area, just right click in this space, go to customize, and that will give you your layout controls. If you take this V1, which is the track name, and you drag it to where you want it to show up, if you drag it here, it will stay right where it was. But if you bring it and drag it down right next to that eyeball, it will move the track name to right there. You click OK, and now all of your video track names are right there and easy to view. All right, the next tip is called selection follows playhead. And what that means is no matter where I move this playhead, it will automatically select the clip that's under it. So if I go up here into the sequence drop down and I click selection follows playhead, wherever I move that playhead, it will select the clip that's underneath it. Now when you have one that's stacked like this that has 3 files, it will click the highest one that is highlighted here with the V1, V2, or V3. So if I just do V1 and V3, I can move it over here. When I move it back, it's going to pick the top one that's highlighted, in this case V3. So if I have all of them selected, it's still going to highlight V3. And if I unselect it, go over here, it's now going to only select V2. So it always selects the top clip that is activated by having this highlighted. And by the same token, if you find that every time you move your playhead, it selects the clip underneath it and you don't want it to, then go up to your sequence and deselect selection follows playhead. And now you can move your playhead anywhere it wants and it will not affect the clip that is highlighted. Next tip? I think so. Okay, tip 8 kind of has 2 tips. This is about markers, how to set markers and how to jump through them. I don't use this that often, so when I do, sometimes I forget how to advance through my markers. It's really pretty easy. First of all, let me set some markers. I can just go anywhere here that I want and hit M. If your shortcut isn't set up for M to be marker, you can put add marker. You can right click your playhead and click add marker. So I'm going to advance to the next spot, hit marker, 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 marker. Okay, now I have a bunch of markers here. So really the tip is how to step through your markers quickly and easily. If you want to move your playhead forward to the next marker, you just hit Shift M and it will walk to the next marker. And if you want to go backwards to the previous marker, you hit Control Shift M and it will now step backwards through the markers. That's all for that tip. What do we do? The last one, number 9? So the number 9 tip that I like to use sometimes is how to close gaps between your sequence clips. So, all right, so I've got these spaces here. That's kind of just stuff scattered around. And if I want to clean that up, I just go to Sequence and hit Close Gaps. If I have none of the clips selected or all of the clips selected, then whenever I hit Sequence, Close Gaps, it will close all of them. But let's say I only want to close the gaps between these 3 clips? Well, I just drag a box to highlight those 3 clips, and I again go to Sequence, Close Gap, and it will close the gaps only on the sequences that are selected. So sometimes that happens. You have a bunch of little clips scattered around and you're like, instead of having to drag each one together and then highlight 2 of them and drag them together, you can just highlight the ones that you want to close the gap, hit Sequence, Close Gap, and there you go. That's the 9 tips that I have written down in my Shane's Tips files for Premiere Pro. Those should be pretty useful to anyone that uses Premiere Pro very much. You may have known about some or all of them, but if you didn't, keep them in mind because they can really make things go faster and smoother and more efficiently. And that's the name of the game, isn't it? That's what we go for. Keeping the creative parts creative and the grind of the work faster, more efficient. Thanks, see you next time. Oh, subscribe!